All right, guys, we're going to go over some new things that might be on the STAR. We're going to click the practice STAR test. Go ahead and sign in. We're going to select 9th grade. Now I want to show you 2021 new algebra types. So go ahead and click that. Just hit select, just hit begin test now. Okay, so these new STAR types are going to test the actual knowledge of the student. They're not going to be given 4 choices. So it's really going to see, can this person explain using how they have the setup using the right answer. So for instance, in this question, we have to remember the laws of exponents, which is when it's dividing, we subtract the top number and the bottom number. So for the x, on top it's a 6, but the bottom exponent is a 1. 6 minus 1 is 5. For the y, the top exponent is a 1. The bottom exponent is a 2. So 1 minus 2. For the z, the top exponent is a 7. The bottom is a 2. 7 minus 2. Now, answer these 3 subtraction. If it's positive, you'll keep it on the top. If it's negative, you'll put it on the bottom. So 6 minus 1 is 5. That's a positive number. It goes on the top. Y to the 1 minus 2 is a negative 1. That's a negative number. This is going to go on the bottom. Z to the 7 minus 2, that's a positive number. It's 5. That's going to go on the top. So because this one's going to go to the bottom, let me clear, oops, I can't clear yet. Let's move this out the way. I'm going to need to stop annotating. X. I'm going to need to type the fraction right here. Now I have a fraction. I need to put x to the power of 5, z to the power of 5. So notice I pressed this button to get the top exponent. My bottom answer is y to the power of 1. I don't have to put a 1 if it's a 1. So I can now delete that. That's my final answer. I'm going to hit save and move on. Now I can clear my annotation. This question says f of x equals x plus 4 squared minus 18. What is the equation for this function in standard form? So what I'm going to need to know is how to expand this. What that means is take your x plus 4 and multiply everything out and then minus 18 at the end. Well, x plus 4 squared really means to write x plus 4 2 times. Now multiply x plus 4 times x plus 4. X times x is x squared. X times 4 is 4x. 4 times x is another 4x. 4 times 4 is 16. Then do minus 18. So your final answer is x squared. 4x plus 4x is plus 8x. 16 minus 18 is minus 2. Expanding something, writing it in standard form. Remember, standard form means you have a number next to x squared, This case, it's a 1. You have a number next to x. This case, it's the number 8. And you have your c value. In this case, it's a -2. And save it, hit next. This is solving an algebraic equation. The nice thing is I'm going to use Desmos. The first thing I'm going to do is type in the left side of this equation. I'm not going to use the letter M. I'm going to switch it to an X. There it is. All right. Now I'm going to type in 4 times 4x plus 11. I have one side of the equation in red. I have the other side of the equation in blue. I'm going to see where they intersect. The answer I'm going to put down here is the x only, because remember, in the problem, they use the letter M. They only use the letter M. In this point, M is the x coordinate. We don't care about the other number for y because there isn't a y in this problem. So the answer would be 7. Save, moving on. All right, this table shows the cost of a different number of square feet of carpet. What is the rate of change? Rate of change means slope, rate of change means slope, rate of change means slope for the total cost with respect to square feet. Okay. So, go to Desmos. Add your table and type in $120, $140, $160, $180, $840, $980, $1120, $1260. Finding the slope or rate of change, you're going to use your y1 squiggle mx1 plus b. We only care about the slope. The slope is the number 7. M means rate of change. M means slope. So my answer is 7. Save, move on. This, what is the graph of this function? Well, remember, anything to the power of x is exponential. Now, is this graph the answer to this? I don't know. What I do know is I'm going to press calculator and I'm going to type f of x equals 6 times 2/3 to the power of x. And that is what it should look like. It is a 0,6 y-intercept. It looks like it crosses right there at over 1 up 4. Don't guess. Change that to a table. And just look at these points, 0, 6, and 1, 4. What you're going to do now is take that and move that to 0, 6. Take that and move it to 1, 4. Lock it in. Save it. And move on. This one says our parent function is x squared. It was used to create this function. What is the new function of g? Well, first of all, x squared. My math students better remember this is a parent function of a quadratic. But guys, type it in. There's your parent function. This is quadratic. Now, type in the transformation one, g of x equals a negative f times x minus 3 plus 4. This is what we have to graph on the graph that Staar gave us. So check it out. The vertex is at 3, 4. So take this vertex and move it to 3, 4. Lock it in. Remember, this is the point 1, 0. So take that and lock it in at 1, 0. Save it and move on. These 3 points lie on a graph of a quadratic. Guys, you know a quadratic with these 3 points. It must go like that. When we know quadratics, we know that what this side does, so does that side. What this side does, so does that side. And the middle is in between it, right? We want to graph the line of symmetry. The line of symmetry is going to be a line in the middle. Notice that this green dot is 2 spaces away from the line, and so is that green dot. As long as you put the line in the middle of these 2 green dots, you got it right. Save it, move on. Graph the line represented by this equation. All right, you're going to have to do some math. Let me get this color. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to box the y. I'm going to move x. And then I'm going to divide. That's really ugly. I'm going to divide. Now I'm going to reduce. 15 divided by negative 5 is negative 3. Negative 3 divided by 5 is positive. Here is my equation. What I'm going to do is put my very first dot on negative 3, because that's my y-intercept. And then my next dot will be up 3 spaces over 5. That's my equation. Save. So I solved the equation for y. Then I graphed the y-intercept, and then I went up 3 over 5 to find the slope. Okay, here is the system. This is a system. I have this line I have to graph, and I have that line that I have to graph. My first line is called graph 1. The directions say, now this is when I would suggest using your line reader. What is the solution set for this system? First step, graph the solution set of the system of linear inequalities in the coordinate plane. First, select the graph number 1 button. Here's graph number 1. What kind of line is y is greater than negative 3 over 4x plus 4? Well, first of all, a greater than sign is a dashed line. And I'm going to graph this starting at positive 4. And I'm going to go down 3 over 4. Down 3 over 4. There it is. Before we do anything about shading, we need to graph the other line. Now I'm going to select this graph number 2. This is a less than sign, but less than is still dashed. This time I'm going to start at -5, going up 3 over 2. Start at -5 and go up 3 over 2. Now it wants me to pick the solution set. Is it here, 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 or there? What part is the solution set? Now we go back up. On the green line, I need to be greater, but on the pink line, I need to be less. Green greater, pink less would be right there. Remember, green greater means shade up. Pink less means shade to the left. So where do they double overlap? Right there. Save it, move on. This question says, let's get the line reader. So come over here and select, I can even zoom in. I can select line reader. What's the solution? Graph the solution set. First, select the graph button. Choose your line style. Well, this inequality is an equal. Equal means it better be solid. So what I'm going to do is turn off the line reader. And I'm ready to box the Y. Move the X. Divide, divide, divide. Oopsies. Now divide, divide, divide. So your answer is -5 over 6x plus 30 divided by 6 is 5. So now I need to start at +5. I need to go down 5 over 6. I keep the line solid, and I say less than or equal to. Less means lower, save it, move to the next problem. All right, use the number line to represent all of the solutions to this inequality. We're going to have to solve this equation, and they use the letter J. That like just sucks. Using the letter J is lame. Lame-o. All right, I'm zooming in just to see how much it zooms. I'm interested. Okay, so I'm going to do Notepad. Nope, the Notepad, don't like it. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just going to have to use good old pen and paper to solve this. This is like testing you. Do you know what you're doing? Here we go. We're going to need to multiply -3 times 2. I don't like using J's. I'm going to use X. It's easier on my finger. I'm going to do -3 times -11. And 8x minus 9. So I have an 8x and I have a -6x. I need to get the two x's on the same side. I'm going to add 6x to both sides. That's going to be 14x. If I add the 6x to the right, then I'm going to add the 9 to the left. Now I have separated the x term with the constant term. Now I'm going to divide both sides by 14. How many times can 14 go into 42? I'm going to hit calculator. I'm going to type in 42 divided by 14. The answer is 3. So I'm going to put 3 is greater than or equal to X. I don't like that. I like putting X first. I like making it point that direction and keep it the 3 on the other side. Now I remember if it's less or equal to 3, now I'm gonna have to clear all this. Less or equal to 3. I'm gonna put less or equal means this sign and move it to 3. And that is how you graph J is less than or equal to 3. Because it's equal, I have to use a solid black dot. Because it's less, I'm going to point it to the left. Save, move on. Again, this is solving. So I'm going to zoom in. And now I'm going to multiply. Negative 2 times m is negative 2m. Negative 2 times half is negative 1. I'm going to move the m's on the same side. If it's an m on the left and a negative 2m on the right, I'm going to add 2m. M plus 2m is 3m. If I move the boxed 2m to the left, I'm going to move the 7 to the right. 7 minus 1 is 6. I'm now going to divide both sides by 3. And m is greater than 2. M is greater than 2. Greater than 2. That's going to be that symbol. And I'm going to move it to the 2. Save, move. This graph represents a quadratic function. Choose the correct drop-down menu item to complete the statement. This function has well, it's going down. So the highest point is called a maximum. And the value is, well, how high did it go? It went to the level of the 4. Save, move on. The laboratory technicians recorded a population of a species of bacteria each hour for 7 hours. The populations in thousands after X hours can be modeled by the exponential function f of x equals 575 times 1 plus 0.4 to the power of x. Now, you and me, when we did this in class, we didn't put the 1 plus 0.4. We just made it 1.4. I don't know why they separated that, but it doesn't matter. You can add 1 plus 0.4 and get 1.4. The initial population in this drop-down menu. So the initial, remember, the initial is the starting number. Well, the starting number was 575. But remember, it's in thousands. The population is what? Is it increasing or decreasing? Well, look at your B value. Remember, your B value tells you, is it increasing or decreasing? Coach, I don't know that answer. Well, type it into the calculator. If you don't know that answer, type in 575 times 1.4 to the power of x. And zoom out. That goes up. When it goes up, it increases. Another way to remember is any number bigger than 1 as the B value, it increases. Any number between 0 and 1, it decreases. Now, what is it increasing at a rate of? 40%. Remember, it had 0.4, and that's 40%. All right, let me clear off that. The graph of 4x plus 5y equals 20 is shown. Which points are in the solution of 4x plus 5y is less than 20? So they already have the line on the graph. So we need to rewrite this and then shade the less than part. The good thing is there's no negative numbers here. So if it's less than, these two are going to be solutions. It's just less than 20. So less than would be lower than the line. Less than or equal would have been click on that point and click on that point. Greater than would have been click on this point and click on this point. But it's a less than sign. Click on only the points that are lower than the line. The graph of a quadratic function is shown. What are the zeros? The zeros is where it crosses the x-axis. Okay, here's a 0. Here's a 0. There's 2 correct answers. There they are. Save, move on. What is the factored version of this quadratic? Ooh, look at this fanciness. First of all, remember, factoring means we're going to have 2 parentheses or we're going to have a GCF. In this case, we're going to have a GCF and we're going to have 2 parentheses. GCF means what's the greatest common factor between that, and that? Yes, Coach Hughes, 2, 14, and 24 are even numbers. When they're even numbers, there is a 2 in common. What does that mean? Take out a 2. Drop it right there. Okay. That will now leave me with x squared minus 7x plus 12. You can factor that. Now that you've made that a 1 because you've divided everything by 2 and you've put the GCF on the outside, what multiplies to 12 and adds to negative 7? What 2 numbers multiply to 12 and add to negative 7? Yes, negative 3 times negative 4 makes positive 12 and add to negative 7. So our answer should look like this. So now there's already an x. Go ahead and drop your minus sign. Your 3, drop your minus sign, and your 4. Now submit that, call it a day. The graph of a line is shown. What are the equation in the slope of the line? Remember, a horizontal has a slope of 0. So the slope, drag it in there, is 0 because it's a horizontal line. And the equation of this line, be smarter than the test. Type in x equals 2. X equals 2. Does that look like that line? No. Y equals 2x. Does that look like that line? No. Y equals 2. That looks like the line. Drag it in. Save that and move on. Which of the relations represent y as a function of x? Remember, functions on functions, x doesn't repeat. And it passes the vertical line test. So pull up your calculator and type in y equals negative 3.4x. Okay, that's a line. It passes the vertical line test because I can draw a vertical line anywhere on here and it just touches my line one time. That means that is a function. For my next, it has 1 and another 1. It has 4 and another 4. It has 9 and another 9. That's not a function because x repeats. The third one, they give me a graph. Draw a vertical line. Does it touch the graph more than once? No, it doesn't. Therefore, that is a function. Oops, let me delete that. Indicate whether each statement is an example of association, causation. Both association and causation are neither association or causation. Select each correct answer in each row. When the speed of a car decreases, the arrival time to a destination is later. Okay, those are related. When I go slower in my car, it's going to take me longer to get there, right? Now, to me, that's both. Association means, are these even related? Does the speed of your car relate to how long it takes you to get there? Yes. Causation, if I go slower, it takes me longer. Yes, that makes sense. So those are related. Now, I wonder if we consider traffic. If there's traffic, I have to go slow. My time takes longer. So yes, both. When the temperature increases, does the sale of snow cones increase as well? Well, it makes sense. If it's hot, I'm more likely gonna go buy me a snow cone versus if it's cold, probably not gonna buy a lot of snow cones. So are these related? Yes, they are. If it gets hotter, would you think that the sales of snow cones increases? Yes, I would pick both. When the oven temperature increases, the cooking time for a casserole decreases. Are those related? If they're related, it is association. Does one cause the other? Then it has a causation. So when I turn up the oven temperature, would the cooking time for my casserole get a shorter time? I've turned it up hotter. Would it take less time to cook? That's the question. I'm going to say yes. Save it. Next. What's the domain and range of this? Well, type it into Desmos, people. If they give you an equation, type it in. 3 times x plus 9 squared minus 8. Zoom, 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 and a boom, boom. Zoom out. Okay, you should know the domain of a parabola is all real numbers. That should be a given because this is not a context. It's not a scenario. We're not throwing a ball off a bridge and seeing how long it takes to hit the ground. So the domain is all real numbers. To find the range, you click on the vertex. You only care about the y value of the vertex. The y value is -8. This goes up. So everything greater or equal to -8 would be the range. Save it, move on. Now we're going to do the last one. The good thing is they gave me equations. The function f of x, oopsies, f of x equals x. That's the parent function of a line because it's just up 1 over 1. The slope is 1, the y-intercept goes through 0, 0. That's the parent function. Then they tell you, you're going to move that parent function. You're going to do 3 over 4, times it by the f function, and shift it 4 spaces one direction. we're going to now compare these two graphs. Okay, we're going to compare them. I've rearranged it. Zoom out. The graph of F is my red one. Is F steeper than G? Is F steeper? Is the red line more sharper, steeper than the blue line? Yes, it is. It's more steeper. You can also tell if it's steeper the bigger the number. So check it out. This number is a 1. This number is a 3/4. 1 is bigger than 3/4. Therefore, F is 1. F is steeper than G. Next thing. To create the G function, F was translated 4 units to the left, or was F translated 4 units to the right? Remember, I'm looking at red. How did I get from red to blue? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it was translated 4 units to the left. Last option. The x-intercept of G, which is my blue line, is 4 units to the left of the x-intercept of F. That is correct. The x-intercept of G, it is 4 spaces to the left of the x-intercept of F. Save in test. Yes, I'm ready. Now, we did not flag any problem to go back to, so we don't have any flags on our 22 problems. We're ready to submit. Yes. Okay. So it looks like I made a mistake on number 6. I'm interested to see what I did wrong. If my score was a 1 and the max score was a 1, then I picked the right answer. I remember these are the ones we had to manually type in. So I would wonder what would number 6 be. I'm thinking about going back and looking at number 6. The other problem I missed was number 20. And I think number 20 was the causation, association, blah, blah, blah. And we never taught that this year. So I don't think I've ever taught that in my life. I got 1 out of 2 right. Great, high five myself. But the moral of the story is this could be incorporated into this year's STAR test. So thank you for watching. Re-watch it and practice using the same tools on your own so you're more familiar on Tuesday when you take the test. Thanks for watching. Yes, it's 10:12 at night. I need to go shower. Bye.